Canada, taking the trans madness to levels of insanity. And I've got to call it trans insanity, pun intended. There's a story of a man, 2022. His name is Mohamad Al Ballouz. Okay. And the fact that his name is Mohamad is not necessarily relevant tangentially, maybe if it relates to immigration policies. A man is accused to have stabbed his wife 23 times to death, drowned the 2 kids.
What?
Drank chemicals to try to kill himself, then set fire to the apartment. Firefighters come, they put out the fire, they discover the wife who's been brutally stabbed. 2 dead children, which were taken out of the tub and put in a bed, apparently.
Oh, man.
And then that's it. Okay. If we can pull up the article from the time, because you're going to see.
So this is it.
There's a transition to this story.
This one?
No, go back. Go back one. Here. This is CBC News. It's state-funded propaganda funded by the federal government.
Okay.
Man faces homicide charges after death of woman. Could use to mention it's his wife. 2 kids. His 2 kids, no less. Longueuil, that's a place in Montreal. Authorities discovered unconscious victims in an apartment after the fire alarm trade. Okay, fine. 2022. Fast forward 2 years, the man's going to trial. Except at some point in the last 2 years, this man, Mohamad Al Ballouz, decided he's a woman. And decides to be identified as her, she, whatever.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a second. Ends up in a women's correctional facility, allegedly, from the best that I'm able to determine now. I tried to call up the facility to double check, and they won't give me any information. Now we can pull this up here. This is, protesters call for speedy justice for family of wife, 2 kids killed in triple homicide. And I don't know if we have any identifying talk, but at the time, it was a man who murdered.
Still accused of the children's father.
Who's
a husband, Mohamad Al. Yeah.
Okay, so at the time, this guy's a man, and he's alleged to have killed his wife and 2 children. Fast forward 2 years, let's pull up some of the articles at the time now, because it's going to get into the question as to, on the one hand, we were talking about it before the show, transgenderism, gender dysmorphia, was in the DSM-5, I don't know what the acronym is. DSM.
The Diagnostic and Statistic Manual.
Well, it has mental illnesses, diagnosed mental illnesses in it. And they've recently amended it not to remove gender dysphoria altogether, but to only call it a condition when it causes distress. Mm-hmm. So if you believe that you're a man in a woman's body, but it doesn't cause a distress, it's not a DSM mental illness.
Yeah, I believe I was born in the wrong body, but I'm chill about it.
So it doesn't cause distress, therefore it's not a mental disorder. Fine. Fast forward, the guy decides that he's a woman. And it's not that he's an accused murderer, and that's fine, and he's probably a psychopath to begin with. The system plays along with it. I'm reading an article here. Let's start pulling up the articles from the time. This is from the Gazette, a rag of a propagandist outlet that receives those federal funds. Writes, this is the header, Brossard is the place, murder trial. Accused suggests dead wife killed their children. There.
What?
So I'm reading there, and I'm like, okay, fine, maybe it's plural because it's his and her children. If we skip to the next part of this article, then you got Mohamad Al Ballouz. Look at this. A person acting as their own lawyer. So now I'm saying, a person acting as his or her own lawyer. I'm getting a little confused. In a jury trial at Longueuil Courthouse, where they are charged with murdering their wife, 2 sons inside the family home, surprised everyone Monday afternoon by revealing their theory of the case. Mohamad Al Ballouz, a 38-year-old who now identifies as a woman, revealed her hypothesis. What? We can skip to it. Flip to the next one.
Go to the next one.
It gets even worse. When it came time to cross-examine witnesses, Al Ballouz first repeated the Crown's theory of the case, that Al Ballouz killed her wife. I'm reading this. I don't understand what's going on anymore.
What the hell?
Again, we'll go to the next paragraph. Throughout the trial...
Go back.
Go back here. Throughout the trial, Al Ballouz has had to ask all her questions from the inside of the prisoner's dock, inside the courtroom. She reminded the jury that Fiorello, that's the expert qualities of an expert witness, were not called into question by her. Al Ballouz then revealed the defense's theory. By the way, Al Ballouz, you can pull that one down now. Theory of the case is that the wife murdered the kids, tried to attack him. That's how his blood got all over the apartment. Yada, yada, yada. It goes one step even crazier. So we can pull this up. This is from a Substack, and I haven't been able to verify the total accuracy of this, but so far it's so accurate.
And Dave, so right now he's in a woman's prison.
As far as has been reported.
Because you even called and you can't find out where he's at.
They won't give me any information.
Okay.
This is from the Substack. Okay, look at this. At the outset of the trial, the prosecution counsel, Laurence Lamoureux, that's the prosecutor, felt obliged to apologize to the court for referring to the accused as a male. Quote, on the day in question, the evidence will reveal the accused presented himself as a man, and this is the freaking prosecution, not just catering to this mental illness, engaging in the mental illness. He said, so don't be surprised if we or witnesses refer to the accused as a man if it's not out of lack of respect or intended to shock people, end quote. Because, and this is him, the author writing this now, because heaven forbid a man accused of infanticide and stabbing his wife to death has his newly acquired gender identity disrespected. So I'm sitting here reading this. I'm like, I went out with a few choice words to the Gazette. I tweeted, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, how do you, the Gazette recently reported, like they frame any news in a way that fits the narrative. Montreal had some protests over the summer, occupations, pro-Palestinian occupations, and they didn't refer to anything as vandalism. It was just, a peaceful occupation. And then they show a picture of a statue, but don't show the base of the statue that had been horribly vandalized. So I say, what the F is wrong with you, inhumane bastards? It's one thing that this guy's crazy, and it's another thing that you play along with it. If we can pull up another article, because it's psycho level insanity, like dressing up like your mom level insanity. There was one part where, oh no, go back. The one where he gets into the trial wearing a wig.
Well, no, he didn't. Dude,
okay, now go next here.
Right there at the bottom.
The victim was Cynthia Becerra. Oh, here we go. In the prisoner's box, Al Ballouz sported a long, dirty blonde wig, manicured red fingernails, wore a woman's blazer, and wished to be identified as a woman named Lavana.
Oh my God.
I mean, what this is victimizing the victims a second time, a psychopath having his way now, and then these idiots, the media plays along with it by referring to him as a her and a she. The prosecutor plays along with it. The entire judicial system plays along with it, and a man who's accused of murdering his wife, allegedly, apparently, is now in a woman's detention facility in Longueuil, endangering other women. Oh. It's absolute institutionalized insanity, and I said I'm going to put this story on blast, because people need to see what goes on when this reaches peak levels of insanity. I don't think enough Canadians know about this story, but this should be international news and should turn Canada, the legal system, the prosecutorial system, and the media into the utter laughingstock that it is.
And think of the clown show.
More effort into getting the pronouns right than to prosecuting the case.
But they're turning the alleged victimizer into a victim.
Yeah.
They're turning the alleged murderer, and I say alleged because the evidence looks like what it is, but
I hope he's going to pay for
They're
this.
turning him into the victim. Oh, we got to be nice to her. We don't want to call him or her a him. He's got a dick.
Yeah.
He is a man. He didn't identify as a man when he's alleged to have murdered his wife. He was a man then. He is a man now. And anybody entertaining this is idiotic, delusional, and evil.
Does he think? Here's my question. Does he think, David, you're the lawyer, how is this going to help his case? If he's a woman.
He's just effing with the system. It's a big middle finger to all of you. He's a narcissistic psychopath who lives off manipulating people into treating him like the victim, and he's getting the media, the court system, the legal system to play along with him, and nobody says boo.
What's the death penalty?
There's no death penalty.
There's no death penalty. Dude, so what's to stop every single murdering, rape, whatever the hell you're doing? Just say that I'm a woman. Go to a female prison. You're not going to get harassed. You're not going to get. You're going to be in charge.
You're going to get. Who can pull up the stats in real time, Rob? See if you can get this. The levels of impregnation at all women's detention facilities. Is that an all-time high? Like, who would have thunk? Don't fact check me at an all-time high, but it's above zero, which it should be at zero.
Well, since this is Canada, why can't he just self-identify as an innocent woman and just no, I'm dead serious? And it's such a ridiculous argument. Like, as I'm watching and reading it, it's so ridiculous, make-believe BS. And the fact that they're playing these games with them, I would just look, I'd be like, you know what I would say? So if he was here, it'd be a different story. If I was a judge, I'd be like, hey, she, her, your dress, or whatever, if you're convicted, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the electric chair. You murdered your family, and now you're playing this. I would give him more. I'd be like, yeah, take this.
Your pronouns are now were, was.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's another level to this where, I do wonder, are they adding this statistic to women crimes? So does this guy now go on the list of women who committed murder? More importantly also, I said his name is mildly irrelevant, but is this guy an illegal alien, an illegal immigrant, or a legal one in Canada? Who has now been welcomed by the Trudeau government, commits a brutal murder, and for them to give like 2 layers of concealment as to what's actually going on here, he goes from being Mohamad Al Ballouz to a Canadian, to Lavana, to a woman, and now nobody can even track back that this murder might have had something to do with terrible immigration policies or no immigration policies.
Speaking of Trudeau, How much of this is coming from him, like from the top down, or is it just like an all-out pervasive thing that's infecting the system? Because if Pierre gets in there, you think a lot of this changes?
It changes, but not quickly enough. The conservatives, unanimously passed that conversion therapy ban bill, which was not the type of conversion therapy ban that you thought it was. It was just, you couldn't tell a gay kid they're not gay, but you certainly couldn't not affirm the transgender nature of a trans kid. It banned the conversion of trans kids, of gay kids, not trans.
Well, that's why it's completely backwards, because they say conversion therapy is when you tell someone who thinks they're a woman, no, you're actually a man. But gender affirming is when you tell them, no, you were born in the wrong body, you are actually a woman.
It's nuts. It is basically the conversion authorization bill, but only to trans and
But
basically.
think in this situation, this clown who is described dirty blonde wig and a woman's blazer and red manicured fingernails standing out there and saying, well, actually, it was my deceased wife who murdered our children and forced me to drink chemicals and set our apartment on fire.
Oh,
That is insane.
The only
No serious society would allow this to happen.
The only way it could be more psychotic, and I still think it would be tolerated, is if he shows up wearing the skin of his mother. Yeah. And says, "This is my identity. Don't say anything."
Like
I'm more
Silence of the Lambs.
like literal psycho Silence of the Lambs. But it's when you ask where does it come from? Is it top down? Trudeau has unleashed what I don't know if wokeism is the right word for it, but he unleashed this identity politics, focusing on everyone's identity aspects to draw a divide to create havoc. It comes from the top down.
Yeah.
And especially if it's an immigration issue, it might really come from the top down.
And he's probably going to say too. My wife, I told her that I was trans. She lost it and she tried to kill me. She was transphobic. That's one angle to take. And then, bro, here's my thing. And I hate to be this guy. Can you blame him? If you know as a piece of crap, Mohamad, whatever the hell his name is, go to hell, Ballouz, loser, scumbag, murdered all three of them. Like, if you know that that's the system, why not? Like, dude, you could be a murderer, literally murder. There's no death penalty. Identify as a trans and go to a female prison where he could, quite frankly, get with more women, choke them out, and have sex with them if he wants.
I mean, come on, Mohammed. Don't you know that gender transitions are haram? But then again, violence against women is a sacred tenet of Islam, so maybe he's karmically neutral on this one, I guess.
No, and that's where it becomes another issue. It's like, are they concealing again for negative narratives affecting certain demographics? It's the whole thing is sick. But you imagine this sick narcissist, sociopath, psychopath is in there now manipulating the entire courtroom to give him a level of sophistication. Like, oh, he's a she now, stunning and brave. We don't want to misgender you when we refer to you as a him when you were alleged to have stabbed your wife 23 times. God forbid.
Oh, and so I want to move on to Rob, but just really fast. Can you get in trouble now if you were in the court right now and you were a prosecutor and you call him, and even though he wants a she?
Oh, I would not be surprised if you were held in contempt. Which is why I think I would. Day one, F you, F your lies right now. I don't even care if you're the most sincere, bona fide trans.
You're Mohammed, bro.
You're a he. You'll always be a he. I don't care how you identify. But I swear to you, if you were to do that in the courtroom, you'd probably be held.
And that is why you're in Florida instead of Canada.
Yeah, and Justin
because
Trudeau was
you can't do that anymore.
Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau's at a freaking Taylor Swift concert with all young girls acting really suspect with freaking this many bracelets handing them out. But anyway,
and on the PBD podcast, that woman who alleges that his dad had sex with her when she was
with
10.
underage girls. Hey, allegedly. So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.